Yeah, so I just went to this.
Okay, yeah, just like today. This is the look.
Like less than 20 minutes ago.
So it's slightly impulse move, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so I just went to this. Yeah, that's my computer playing it over again.
Yes, to make sure that it's working.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not wearing an undershirt and a sweatshirt, so we gotta keep it PC.
Oh, I'm just in a freaking t-shirt, so
Well, yeah, that's not bare chest, you know.
yeah,
Oh, it is the
risque.
play.
Yeah,
It is the playoffs, so you know we gotta get it's hard. You gotta get hardcore.
yeah.
Okay, the 19th through the 25th is what we want for last week.
Yeah, how ironic was it that Ottawa and New York scored the exact same amount of points? That was kind of wild. They didn't play each other, but they
Yeah.
scored the same amount of points.
All right. Save that juice for the. Oh my God! Look at this. Another goalie and three goalies in the top. Wait, no, it's supposed to be all. Oh, it is all. Okay. Short week. What am I looking at here? Was it a short week or just nobody scored?
Well, I mean, you're talking about in terms of the actual
Anybody?
production of players. Yeah, I don't
Action of
know.
players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Let's do it. It just looks weird to me. All right. Let me hit the record button.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Ebbs and flows. It's time for the Empire Hockey Podcast, and it's me, Perry, the commish of the Empire Hockey Association, joined as always by Ferda Bill, owner of the Washington Capitals and the communications director of the Empire Hockey Association, assistant commissioner. Bill, how's it going on this Monday in April? Almost done with April.
It's going okay. My team was inactive, unfortunately, this past week, but these things happen.
Well, join the freaking club, Bill. We do have hockey to get to.
I can't be one of the Ferda boys though in this case with that's latching on with the now finalist Vancouver.
No, well, yeah, and we'll certainly get to that. But before we get to our games, we have players to get to and our players of the week, Bill. Starting with forwards of the week. Here he is again. By the way, just squeaking out my guy, Sidney Crosby, was Mike Zibanejad once again in the top three, like he's been all year. 21.75 points for Jelly season.
Not technically all year, because remember, like the first 2 weeks of the year, he like had no idea what was going on, and then like ever since he figured it out that 1 week, it's been like, you know, napalm.
Number two, formerly failed winger on the Calgary Flames, now Florida Panther, Sam Bennett. Calgary has to be loving that with a big
thrilled.
week.
Thrilled.
3 goals and assists, 4 points, 19 PIMs. Attaboy. 22.25 total fantasy points, 5.56 per game. And our top forward of the week, in a little bit bittersweet, it was Sebastian Aho from Chicago. 22.5 points, 5.62 per game for the sadly out of the postseason Shy Vegas.
Yeah, he's like, why couldn't this have happened the week before?
Seriously. Was it? Our top defenseman of the week. Guess who's number 3, Bill?
Fox.
Adam Fox.
Yep. I haven't even looked, but I had an idea.
17.25 points, 4.3 per game. A bit of a down week, except for one guy for our top defenseman. But number 2, you could probably guess also, is Chris Letang. He's been there since the second half. It's kind of funny how, I mean, it's just fantasy hockey, I know, but this league is a pretty good indicator of how well a player is playing overall, especially if they're a good offensive defenseman. Now, some of the defensive defenseman stats don't really, hold up here, as far as how well they defend space and the slot and all that stuff. But you get a pretty good indication of how good, at least offensively, the defenseman's playing. And Shea Theodore is number 1, 19.75 points per game for the Vegas Knights for San Jose, who continues to make a run at the number 1 overall pick.
That's right. Sharts is alive.
Sharts alive, as they say.
That's what all the kids say anyway.
Yeah, right.
The kids say it all the time.
Top 3 goalies of the week, Bill. And 2 of them used to play for Pittsburgh, but now just one does. Our third goalie of the week is Matt Murray from Ottawa, 24 points on the year for St. Louis.
Love it.
Why are you raising your hand?
No, just Matt Murray. Who to thunk it?
Not us.
Nope.
Number 2 also plays for the EHA St. Louis club. It's Tristan Jarry, current Pittsburgh goaltender, 25.25 points per game. And then he didn't play for Pittsburgh, but it is also a new member of a team this year, Cam Talbot of the Minnesota Wild, 33.75 for Joe's Quebec club. And he's saying, this could have been me. Why not me at this point? Because he's had a couple of good weeks in a row, it seems like, at least from his goalies, where he's not playing anymore.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Let's get to the matchups, Bill. Let's get to last week first. We can get to the excitement of what is the postseason here.
Yeah, we kind of have to tell all the listeners who's here, who made it, who won and stuff.
Playoff bracket. If you weren't with us last week and are listening now, we were down to 4 teams last week. Philly at Detroit, Vancouver at Anaheim. And Bill, we had
no home ice advantage, Perry.
No, not at all. We did have our closest match of the playoffs, it looks like.
Oh, absolutely.
Philadelphia Flyers squeaking out a win, a 3.75 point win over Detroit, 133.75 to 130. And then the other one, Canucks, just ran away with this one. And I think it's a little bit can be said about how young Bruce's team was, and maybe just didn't have the consistency that you look for from his full group. And certainly not the case for Vancouver. He got all the consistency he needed.
Well, one of the interesting things about that Flyer-Red Wing matchup is it did come right down to the end, but you could argue that really Philly won it because of Thursday, because Philly scored 52 points on Thursday. Got a shutout, a quasi shutout out of Varlamov. It counts as a stat shutout, even though they lost in a shootout 1-0. But when you can get 52 points out of your team in a given day, that usually is a high ticket item. And he was able to ride that momentum just enough to get through the edge of the week and hold off Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit had a skater's scoring advantage, 117.5 to 113 over Philadelphia, but it was Semyon Varlamov's 20.75 points beating out Juuse Saros' 12.5. So the goalie's making the difference there. They don't always make the difference, Bill, but when they do, it's a little bit more noticeable, whether it's just like a forward here, a defenseman there, right?
Well, yeah, it does. And I mean, part of the other drama is that from Friday through Sunday, Detroit outscored Philly 71 to 32. So like there was a ton of ground that Detroit needed, and everybody was writing off, like, hey, Fly Guys are in it. And they did end up, in it. But man, Detroit really made that great run late to try to, pull away or, pull ahead and get ahead of the Flyers, but just too much early momentum in the week for Philly.
And just to get down into the kind of minuscule, like the small things here, Tomas Nosek goes injured after a couple of games last week. Gets him 1 point. If he knows that, maybe he goes with Kasper Kapanen, who put up seven, almost 8 points. He would have won the week there.
Yeah.
You when it's such a close game, you can look at any number of things, right? And then say, this could have made the difference. Now you have Spencer Knight on the bench of Philadelphia. He's not a bad guy coming in late for you if you need him next year. But with Varlamov, probably the smart play there, even though Knight kind of making his NHL debut not that long ago.
Yeah, and like you said too, and we'll get into it with the other matchup too, but just random people contributing, like, who was it? I guess Connor Brown's not a random guy, but like 15.5 points for Connor Brown for Philly. I've never in my life heard of whoever Nicholas Paul is, but Nicholas Paul got him 8.25 points. It's probably because I'm bad at hockey. But, like you said, yeah, little things here and there, a point here, a point there, an assist here, a block there. And that's how you win by 3.75 points.
To the other matchup that you talked about, Bill, but it wasn't very close. Vancouver with the top score of the week with the 178. Marchessault, almost 16 points. Kevin Fiala over 21 points. Jason Richardson. Right. I got to make an apology here on thinking that Adam Fox was up for the Calder. He played last year. I kind of forgot about that. He played after he left Harvard.
Hmm.
So
I'm just an idiot and didn't know any better. So
well, Jason Richardson is the guy who could fill his shoes in the conversation. We kind of missed on him, but he plays for the team I try to avoid thinking about at all times, which is the Dallas Stars.
You said Richardson, you meant Robertson, right?
Oh, Robertson, excuse me. Right, I don't even know his name. So
Jason Richardson, I think was that guy for the
Golden State
Warriors back in the
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, not Jason Richardson. Jay Rich.
Right.
Good 3-point shooter. Probably can't. Actually, I'm not gonna say he can't skate, but he's probably not as good a skater as Jason Robertson.
I think Richardson won a dunk contest. I feel like that was a thing he did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. We could get into that too, but this is the EHA podcast.
You're right. Yeah, Lank Daddy letting the Ducks down. Ducks has all those goalies, and he gets -6 out of a goalie. Now, granted, when you lose by 60, it comes down to more than just a goalie.
More than that, right? But Miles Wood had a big week. Yep. Brian Dumoulin on D, 16 points.
12 hits.
Yep. And the guy I made fun of for not knowing he existed, Yegor Sharangovich.
Yeah.
11.25. He said, "Screw you, Commish. I'm going to help Vancouver get that dub." Yeah.
How about that? About 26 points from 2 Devils right there for Vancouver.
Yeah, that's the most you can get out of any 2 doubles at any point during the year, I'm sure. Robin Lehner, rock solid for Vancouver. And as Bill mentioned, Kevin Lankinen, not solid.
No bueno.
But he's, again, a young guy that you're relying on. His other goalie options this week could have gone with, I don't even see them. Oh, here we go. Fleury, would have gotten him 8. Kakinen would have gotten him 3.75. So
that would have been ironic to have Fleury go against Lehner in that matchup if that's the route he had gone.
Would have been, but like we said, it doesn't even matter what goalie he played, right?
Right. Correct.
He had a few points left on the bench. Brandon Hagel had 10. Jaden Schwartz had 8. I don't think his optimized lineup is even close to 178.
It's hard. Vancouver had 40 points. He was plus 22, had 83 hits. You can't really beat that. That's just
it's just an off week. You can't have off weeks in the playoffs, and that's what unfortunately Bruce has. So Bruce will not repeat. We have Vancouver and we have Philadelphia. So we will have a new champion, which is cool. Now Vancouver, Bill, last year, I believe there was some chatter in the Slack about this, but last year the playoffs ended in the first. I think it was the first round.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But I'll confirm that while we're talking here. So I have the matchup, or I did. I had the matchup. Let's before we get to this week's matchup, let's get to the Toffs.
Yes, there were some nice Toffs matchups.
Yeah, you're right. Let's get to that. Bill, can you start us off with that?
I can do that. So the highest scoring team in Toffs this past week was Tampa Bay. And ironically, the second highest scoring team in Toffs was Boston. And they faced each other. And Tampa beat Boston 133-121. A lot of Predators scoring points for Tampa. Calle Yarncroc had like 12. Luke Kunin had 17 points. One of the highest scores of the week was Andre Palat. He had 22.5 for Tampa, which goes again for Lightning when, sometimes if you get the right member of the Lightning on your team, when you own a lot of Lightning, you never know. And between him and Vasilevsky, he got like 30-some points. Despite Jack Campbell's best effort the other way for Boston, it was just not quite enough for them. So Tampa advances after being the highest scoring team in Toffs this past week.
Yeah, after that, we talked about the terrible score he had.
Right.
Let's see here.
Not a good week for Toronto.
No, Toronto had to pull the Tampa in this week.
It was a very bad week. Now, granted, Toronto did also have 5 active players that didn't play, either through injury or ineptitude. I don't know.
That doesn't help. Yep.
Yeah, it does not help. And -7 from Ilya Sorokin as well. So all of these factors help contribute to a 66-point week.
Yeah, a lot of tight games. So our next matchups. Let's do this first, and we'll wrap back around to the offs. You got Sharks hosting Rangers.
Yep.
Uh,
Rangers
and then
beat
you
Blues 117-100.
Yep. And then you got Tampa hosting Ottawa.
And Ottawa beat the Golden Seals 117-95.
So that's those will each be 1 week matchups to go to a 1 week final. Whereas if we talk about the offs, it's a 2 week final between Philly and Vancouver. I have the last the 2019-20 playoffs here, Bill, and Vancouver and the Ferta boys are claiming a second place finish because they were losing to the eventual champions 67-35 in the second round of the playoffs. Now, I think that might only because did he have the second best record? I might be wrong here.
Well, if Bruce
Montreal had the second best record, so no, he did not.
If Bruce gets a 72-point font asterisk, then that's like a 96-point font asterisk.
Yeah, and our league records don't need just lots of asterisks in 3 years of competition. So let's just hold off.
Especially if there's large font, because that messes with the kerning and the leading and all that stuff.
Right. We have a Fantrax provided, Bill. Fantrax provided preview of this matchup.
Love it. What is the Fantrax preview provide?
Nothing. It's blank. Hold on. We got points being scored already?
Yes, Tampa is beating Ottawa in toss 2.5 to 1.8.
Why is it not showing up for me? No, that's matchup preview.
No, I think it says there's points being scored, but no one's actually played. I think it's broken personally.
This is the matchup preview that's broken. All right. Well, since there is no matchup preview, we'll go to just us looking at a blank live stats and try to go over forwards. Let's compare the forwards and the wingers and the D and the goalies, and let's see who we think has the advantage here. Okay?
I like it. Now,
all right,
to clarify for everybody at home, it's a 2-week matchup. If there's an injury or something that occurs, can they swap people out after week 1?
No.
So they're in it to win it and don't get hurt. Right.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to take into account. Actually, the period shows all the games. You can go into your roster if you're Philly or Vancouver and scan all the games of the week. You can see it adds up to 133 games played. 133 for Philly, 136 for Vancouver. They've done the math. I'm sure they're math guys.
Yeah, it says 81-60 to 79-80 for that projected minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. That's 2 weeks. Put it in there. Don't get hurt or get well soon. Yes. Centers let's do the center comparison. For Philly, you got Christian Dvorak, Tomas Hertl, Zach Sanford, and Chris Tierney. Pretty good. They're a little, Hertl might be their best guy. What do you think? Some lesser known names at least there, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, with the likes of Tierney and such, but it's hard to go wrong with Draisaitl and Marchessault and Pavelski. Those are, I'd give that center match up there to Vancouver.
Yep, I hadn't gotten to that yet, but I love it, Bill. Draisaitl. I
thought that's what you were just saying. I thought.
I was just talking about Phillies and how we didn't really know them. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
It's great work. No, you're right. Definitely advantage Vancouver. Okay. Absolutely. That was an easy one. Philadelphia wingers: Teddy Bluger, Connor Brown, Ryan Hartman, Brad Marchand, Ilya Mikheyev, Artemi Panarin, Nicholas Paul. Okay, a couple of guys really stand out there. Okay, to me, it's Marchand and Panarin.
Yeah, the bread man and the Brad man.
The bread man and the Brad man, and that's good, Bill. And they're kind of leading this group, right? They're carrying this group. You get some secondary scoring from guys like Bluger and Hartman. Mikheyev, what has he even done this year? 6 goals. Yeah, it's 16 points. That's not bad. It'll add up. And Nicholas Paul, the one who's really having a pretty good year for Ottawa. A lot of assists, 4 goals for a not very good team.
Yeah, I mean, and you have like somebody when you have like Marchand and Panarin, just that ability to have a bonkers day, like is very telling for a team, and Marchand, he's so freaking annoying, obviously, but he can get you shorthanded points, he can get you power play points, he can get you defensive stats, he can do about everything. So he's an extremely valuable fantasy guy to have. So it's, not too much of an accident in that case that he's on the team that's in the finals.
Forwards on the other side, Bill. Overall, this is gonna be close. I might give the advantage to Philly, and I'll tell you why. You got Kevin Fiala over there, Robertson, Kreider, Wood has had a good couple of weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bozak, Craig Smith, Igor's there.
Yeah, Sharon Govich gets the call, promoted from skater to wing this week for Vancouver.
Skater to wing, right? Yeah. So that's a big promotion for him, just to rub it in my face, probably. Bill, there's some more depth, I'll say, on the Vancouver side. I think they have more above average guys, maybe, but I like the stars on Philly better.
Yeah, I'd give the edge to Philly, but at the same time, the recent momentum of Vancouver has been telling. I think it was in Gritty Gazette that pointed out that Vancouver's averaged a ton of points over the last 6 weeks. So, when you have guys like Sharon Govich and Wood and some of those other guys who are just kind of on a roll right now, it's hard to think. You hope that they just don't suddenly stop their production.
Yeah, Brian Dumoulin's a guy who came on last week, right? He put up the huge
went nuts.
4 points per game, but the previous week he was at 0.67. So it kind of averaged out over the past 14 days, 2.6 points. Past 30 days, 2.67. So 2.7 points a game from a D-man is very good. He's going to need something like that because the rest of his D-core is not terrific, okay? You got Edmondson is solid, but then Hanley, Mike Riley, who's been pretty good for a new Boston team, but certainly not a D-man that's going to carry you. Severson plays for the Devils.
Yeah, third Devil for the Canucks.
Sammy Vatanen. And Severson's been a relatively productive from the blue line, playing 22 minutes a game for New Jersey.
Well, what's crazy about it is
not a top D-man in any stretch. And then Sammy Vatanen. Yeah.
Right, but then you still look at, when eventually you'll name Philly's D, and the other owners in this league are probably looking at the D-core for these two teams and being like, what? How how am I not here involved with my defense? Because there's some pretty darn good defensive cores, throughout the league. I mean, you ask most of those high seeds, that somehow have not made it, and you're like, man, on paper this doesn't make sense, but again, it's producing at the right time, and you never know. I mean, those guys can do enough to put you over the edge.
Yeah, you got, other than Seth Jones, it's Noah Dobson, Dmitry Orlov, not a household name, but a well-known guy there. You got Pulock, who's played really well on that New York Islanders team. I mean, how many shutouts do they have? Just that'll get you points.
That'll help. Well, and Orlov, if at least he's been on at least one or two other teams, I feel like this year too. So he's one of those guys that I know him as a Capital fan, but he's paid a lot of money and he doesn't always produce toward the salary that he's making from a fantasy perspective, if that makes sense. But he has been scoring a little bit more lately. So again, having a guy at the right time helps a little bit. And I know for the Capitals, I think Schultz is hurt right now. So maybe he gets a tiny bit more time there, but yeah, so it's almost a push, I would almost say, in defense.
Yeah, 7 shutouts for the Islanders with Pulock in the lineup. That's good stuff.
Well, and Dobson, remember, he has Dobson and Pulock.
And Dobson, right. Sean Walker, you don't see a lot of D-men being played from the Kings, and then Sanheim, a true Philadelphia Flyer. On the Flyers skater matchup, I mean, you can throw those in with the wingers. It's Volkov versus Tanner Pearson. It's not getting anybody excited,
no.
even their loved ones. Okay, finally the goalies. Yeah, Robin Lehner for Vancouver had a big week last week, and Varlamov too. 16 points for Lehner last week, 20 for Varlamov. Expect more of the same. That could be the difference. We saw it was in the Philadelphia matchup.
Yeah, I mean, those are two good goaltenders, and when you have it's hard to go against though an Islander. I mean,
right.
Hard to go up against really. So to be determined now. That being said, they will have to face the Caps again at least once, which although I think it was Sorokin that they tabbed the other day, so who knows. Two good goalies and really hard to go wrong either way, and you just hope they don't pull a lank daddy like he did for Anaheim last week.
So there's your matchups. We got. Did we say who we thought the team where they were going? So we got centers advantage Philly or advantage Vancouver. Excuse me. Wingers advantage Philly.
Yeah.
Did we pick who you liked on D better? I mean,
I went push, but I mean,
yeah, I agree with push
yeah.
and goalies put. And are we gonna take the
I
cheap
think
way out and say goalies push?
No, I think I'd go Philly for goalie.
For goalies, okay. So the pluses and minuses say Philly. The balance of depth, I believe, and the seating and everything favors Vancouver, right?
Yeah, I have to think so. I mean, I'd go Vegas has Canucks by, I don't know, 5 points.
Okay. Bill's giving a 5-point spread. I like that. 5.5.
Or 5.25 for Fantrax purposes.
Love 5.25. 5.25 point spread. Points being given to Philly. All right, Bill. So there's your matchups. We went over the Toffs matchups to try to get that top seed. But they still got another week before their championship.
Yeah, we got to do a full breakdown for the pick next week.
Oh yeah, and we'll talk about some guys that people might be looking at. Maybe we'll bring on our draft specialist
and a third place matchup, of course, too, with Detroit.
Oh yes, let's touch on that real quick because we are already in this
nebula
setup here. Well, I'm in the wrong game. Here we go. All right, so for third place, just some money on the line, obviously, but you got Henrique, Peugeot, Roslovic, and Suzuki at center for the Ducks. A lot of young guys. We talk about this every week, but Ducks have a young team. Sorelli, not old himself. There's an old guy. Nazem Kadri, Kuznetsov, Kevin Rooney. That's pretty close. I don't really see a true advantage here, but maybe to Detroit because of Kuznetsov and his abilities. But Peugeot's been good for the Islanders. And
I almost want to go push.
Yep. All right. Not too bad. Detroit's wingers, Rudolph's Balcers, Pavel Buchnevich, Vinny Hinestroza, Rupi Hines, who's become the second coming down there in Dallas, Tomas Nosek. If I've noticed, then you must be doing something right. Chandler Stevenson, Pavel Zacha, the wingers for Detroit. No true standouts there, but a lot of you guys who are producing and coming into their own this year.
Yeah, Stevenson's done a nice job since he got promoted to a higher line. He used to be a grunt guy down in Washington, and he's really done well there. It will be telling to see if Detroit decides to bench Nosek or keep Nosek in with the red flag. You never know. And another random devil producing points in Zacha there for Detroit. So, and yeah, Rupe just, it's kind of gone wild down there, and it's to Dallas, and that was an unintended pun. I did not mean to use the word wild.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
Smart on you to backtrack on that.
I'm doing it as quickly as I can. Yeah.
All right. You got Andre Burakovsky. I was combining Buchnevich and Burakovsky.
You'd have a pretty scrappy winger there then. Yeah.
Weren't they both on Colorado at one point?
Maybe. I just know Burakovsky because he was traded in the trade with Grubauer out to Colorado from the Capitals.
Okay. I believe they were both Rockies. Avalanche. Comtois, Hoffman, Evan Rodriguez, Brian Russ, Jaden Schwartz, Brady Tkachuk. Tkachuk probably the best of that group, maybe. Rust, when he plays with the big boys in Pittsburgh, can get you some points. Evan Rodriguez, same thing. He was almost kind of throwaway from Buffalo, and there he is, producing a little bit better there. Of course, the Schwartz brothers, Jaden on St. Louis, and Hoffman's in St. Louis now too. So then, of course, Bruce has his own boy, Comtois, still on a rookie contract. So, Bill, where do you see from these groups? Really too close to call for me as well.
I'd go Ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I think just because of Tkachuk.
Okay, he's a separator there.
Yeah, to me.
Ducks D, Connor Clifton, the Hitmaster General there in Boston. Vince Dung, Gustav Forsling, Roman Yossi, Keith Yandel. This is a veteran group for the most part. With those guys, obviously Connor Clifton's not old, but he kind of plays like it. What do you see from the Ducks D?
I see a potential for like a high risk or not high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
But usually a group there that'll definitely get you some points. I feel like they're not going to go like, over on you.
Right. Someone from that group is going to produce something for you.
Mm-hmm.
For Detroit, Wyatt Kalniak, Connor Murphy, Darnell Nurse, former
Washington Capitol.
Former Bills team, Brett Pesce, Mikhail Sergachev, Carson Soucy. Hey, there's a wild defensive D-man, doesn't do anything on offense. That's fine. I mean, you need some of those guys to just eat up some cheap points there. Top heavy again, you got Nurse, and I guess Pesce. I don't know, Sergachev probably.
Yeah,
it kind of drops off a little bit for me there. I think the Ducks have the better D in this situation. I think
I would agree.
Okay. And two goaltenders, Marc-Andre Fleury versus Juuse Saros. They both had similar weeks last week, unable to get their teams through.
How about bench and Lank, Daddy?
Yeah, Lankinen gets benched. That makes sense for what he did last week to him and knocking him out of the semifinal. but like, as is the case, Bill, you can't blame the goalie. And certainly when you got beat by 60 or 70 points, you can't blame the goalie.
But it's a case, like if a motivational tactic, this is good managing here potentially by Bruce. Like you got to send a message to your team. Look, we need to right this now. We need to get some money back into the pockets. We need to get third place.
Yeah.
We're putting Fleury in there and we need to spark.
All right. So that's a good call. That's all we have for this week's podcast, Bill. Anything you're excited about coming up this week? Obviously, we got the championship week starts here, but we got a whole week of that. We'll break it down, the draft choice attorney and everything between the weeks next week.
Yeah, will be interesting to see if Ottawa gets or I think, I know that there's a couple injuries on Ottawa. They survived with the injuries last week. If not, then Tampa Bay, given how good that team is, could almost walk into the finals. If not, so we'll see.
Yeah, people are expecting San Jose, Tampa maybe to try to play for this top pick. And the best odds at the top pick, I should say. So we'll see how that goes. And have a good week, Bill. We'll talk to you soon.
You do the same, and good luck, everybody, in the Toffs and Yoffs.
Toffs and Yoffs for all of you.